Picture this. You pack your bags, board a flight, and step out into the Mediterranean sun to start a brand new life. It sounds like an absolute dream, right? But if you actually picked up and moved to Greece's second largest city tomorrow, what would your very first bank statement look like? And honestly, more importantly, would it actually match the paradise that the internet promised you? Today, we are taking a deep, unfiltered dive into the true cost of relocating to Thessaloniki in 2026. To really figure that out, we have to look at the hard numbers. You see, Thessaloniki is home to roughly 315,000 people in the city proper, and nearly 1 million across the wider metropolitan area. If you look online, you're going to constantly see it heavily marketed as the cheap alternative to Athens. But let's be real for a second, that label, it's kind of a facade. It hides a much more complex truth about who this city is actually affordable for. Section 1. The real cost of housing. Right off the bat, if you arrive in September, be prepared. Tens of thousands of students are flocking to Aristotle University, and that tightens the housing market incredibly fast. And you'll immediately notice a really clear geographic divide. If you want to be right in the heart of the city center, a one-bedroom apartment is going to run you between 500 and 680 euros a month. But if you move just a few blocks out to the western suburbs, or maybe up the steep, winding streets of Anopoli, that drops down to around 380 to 550 euros. Need a 3-bedroom spot for a family right in the center? You can expect that to be between 850 and 1,200 euros. Okay, but what if you want to buy? Well, the median home price across the city currently sits at 169,000 euros. Those standard apartments are creeping much closer to 190,000. And a quick heads up, these prices aren't just sitting still. They actually jumped about 9% over the last year alone. When you factor in an extra 9 to 16% for taxes and legal fees, the gap between a budget-friendly neighborhood like Evosmos and a luxury seafront area like Kalamaria can suddenly be well over 150,000 euros. It's a massive swing. Section 2. Daily living and hidden costs.
Because, as we all know, rent is literally just the beginning of your financial footprint. Basic utilities for an average apartment sit around 200 to 220 euros a month. But here is a very crucial warning for you. Northern Greece gets genuinely bone-chillingly cold. Those heating bills will absolutely spike in the winter, pretty much shattering any illusion you had of year-round Mediterranean warmth. As for groceries, they run about 200 to 250 euros a month, especially if you shop at local open-air markets. But hey, there is a silver lining here, and it's the food scene. Rooted deeply in the legacy of refugees from Asia Minor, the culinary culture here is amazing. Because it's based on sharing plates, an incredible meal out usually costs just 15 to 18 euros.
So let's tally all of that up. When you add your rent, your utilities, groceries, and basic health care, a single person living just outside the city center is looking at a baseline of roughly 1,100 to 1,400 euros every single month. Move right into the center, and you're adding a few hundred euros to that total. And for a family of 4, you are looking at a baseline of around 3,000 euros a month, and that is before you have paid a single cent towards your rent.
Section 3. The local versus remote divide.
Now, here is the plot twist. This is the exact moment that the cheap city illusion completely shatters. The average net salary for someone earning a local wage in Thessaloniki is roughly 800 to 900 euros a month. Now compare that to the 3,500 euros required by the government to bring in a digital nomad visa. It's wild to think about, but a local resident and a remote worker could literally sit at the exact same cafe table, drinking the exact same coffee, while existing in 2 completely different financial realities.
So why exactly is this the case? It is absolutely vital to remember that these relatively low local salaries are not just some permanent feature of a naturally cheap country. Not at all. They are the devastating, lingering legacy of Greece's prolonged debt crisis from the 2010s. That crisis completely hollowed out local wages and forced an entire generation of young Greeks to flee abroad. The harsh reality is, this city is affordable for you only because of the paycheck you are bringing in from somewhere else.
Section 4. Infrastructure, transport, and healthcare. Let's shift gears to the practical stuff. Getting around the city has finally transformed. First proposed way back in the 1910s, Thessaloniki's metro officially opened its first line in November 2024, and this was after literal decades of delays, mostly because construction crews kept unearthing ancient archaeological sites underground. The Kalamaria extension is set to open in July 2026, and the best part? A monthly unlimited pass costs just 16 euros. That makes it one of the absolute cheapest urban transport systems anywhere in the European Union. But while transport is incredibly cheap, healthcare is a completely different story. Your access here depends almost entirely on the passport in your pocket. If you hold an EU passport, you're golden. You can tap right into Greece's strong public ESI system. If you stay longer than 3 months, you just register for an AMCA, which is basically a Greek social security number. But if you are a non-EU citizen, you face a much stricter path. You are absolutely required to have comprehensive private health insurance just to get your visa approved.
And there is no way around this, nor should you want there to be. Without insurance, a serious hospitalization in the private sector here can easily reach 10,000 to 30,000 euros. To even apply for most non-EU visas, you have to prove you hold a private policy with a minimum coverage threshold of around 30,000 euros. And here is a crucial detail. It must explicitly list the word Greece as a covered territory. Just saying Europe or Schengen area will get your application rejected.
Section 5. Navigating visas and bureaucracy.
So how do you even get through the heavily fortified gates of Greek bureaucracy as a non-EU citizen? Right now, the Digital Nomad Visa is by far the most popular route, but as of 2026, it demands solid proof of at least 3,500 euros in net monthly income. You'll also face a 1,016 euro initial application fee, and you are strictly forbidden from taking on any Greek clients. But there is a pretty massive carrot at the end of this bureaucratic stick. If approved, you can get a 50% reduction on your income tax for up to 7 years. It's a huge incentive.
But please, be incredibly careful here, because a lot of older information floating around online is dangerously wrong. On February 5th, 2026, a brand new law completely abolished in-country applications. That means you can no longer just arrive as a tourist, fall in love with a city, and decide to apply from within. Nope. Your application must be pre-approved at a Greek consulate in your home country before you ever even board your flight.
But what if you aren't a remote worker? Well, there are alternative routes, but honestly, the barriers to entry are steep. The FIT visa is designed for those with stable passive income, like retirees. Then there is the famous Golden Visa, which is granted through real estate investment. Due to intense housing pressures, the cost for that has surged, now sitting between 500,000 and 800,000 euros if you want to buy in Thessaloniki. And if you are dreaming of full citizenship, settle in for the long haul. That requires 12 grueling years of continuous legal residence, plus passing strict language and culture exams.
And even once your visa is approved, the bureaucratic bottleneck absolutely continues on the ground. Think about it. Before you can even rent an apartment, you must secure an AFM, that's your Greek tax number. Then you use that tax number to open a Greek bank account. Only after all of that can you finally sign a formal, registered lease with a landlord. This very granular, step-by-step process can literally take a single afternoon, or it can drag on for several frustrating weeks. It depends entirely on which clerk you happen to get on that specific day.
Section 6. The Two Cities Reality.
When we strip away all the glossy marketing, the lifestyle here really does offer incredible highs and totally unique rhythms. The city is aggressively positioning itself as a Balkan tech hub, complete with reliable 5G and co-working spaces that run about 100 to 200 euros a month. This historic center is beautifully, effortlessly walkable. You have direct flights all over Europe right from Macedonia Airport. But to thrive here, you also absolutely must adapt to the local pace. For example, in August, large sections of the entire city simply shut down as locals and expats alike pack up and leave for their summer holidays. You just have to roll with it. Which brings us to our final profound realization today. Yes, Thessaloniki is measurably cheaper than Western Europe on paper, for sure. But the word affordable is entirely conditional. The real cost of moving here isn't just a single number on a spreadsheet. It is so much closer to two separate cities, literally layered on top of each other. One city runs on a local salary of 800 euros a month. The other runs on a remote income that is several times that amount. So I'll leave you with this question. If you were to pack your bags tomorrow, which version of Thessaloniki are you really moving to? And at what cost to the city you're leaving behind?
You know, you probably imagine the sunsets. You picture that endless Aegean Sea. But making the move to Greece is about a whole lot more than just a beautiful view. It's about navigating a complex, deeply intertwined system of bureaucracy that, if we're being honest, can feel absolutely overwhelming if you aren't prepared. But don't worry, in this explainer, we're going to decode the whole system for you, completely and clearly. Okay, let's dive into this. You've got your visa in hand, whether you're a digital nomad, a retiree holding a financially independent person visa, or an investor with a golden visa. Getting that visa, that was just step one. Now, how do you actually survive and thrive in the day-to-day Greek system without completely losing your mind? Because honestly, the ultimate goal of our explainer today is just total peace of mind for you. When you conquer the Greek bureaucracy, when you know exactly how the buses work, how to see a doctor, and what acronyms to actually look for, you buy yourself the freedom to enjoy your new Mediterranean life without a single ounce of stress. All right, to start things off, we absolutely have to talk about the year 2026. Why? Because 2026 is bringing a literal transportation revolution to Greece, especially in its second largest city, Thessaloniki. With a newly operational metro line and deeply integrated transit networks rolling out, getting around is changing completely. And wait until you hear what it costs. Now, what's really interesting here is just how incredibly affordable these base transit fares are. Under the new integrated system in Thessaloniki, a standard urban bus fare drops to just 60 cents. And the brand new metro standard fare, it's exactly the same, just 60 cents. So, looking at how this new electronic Thes ticket system works in action, if you stay on a single mode of transport, just the bus or just the metro, it's 60 cents. If you need to mix modes, a combined bus and metro ticket will run you €1.20. And if you're heading to the airport or taking the special cultural line, that's a flat €2. Yes, mixing modes costs a tiny bit more, but honestly, by European standards, this is a massive bargain. Now, I want you to keep this number in your head, 70. When you validate a single mode ticket, you get a 70-minute unlimited transfer window. As long as your journey and transfers all happen within that 70-minute block on the same mode of transport, you are totally covered by that initial 60-cent fare. And the perks just keep adding up. You can snag a 24-hour unlimited ticket for just €2.50. Plus, you'll be riding on a fleet of over 110 brand new electric buses. If you're a student or a senior over 65, your fares are slashed by 50%. And crucially, if you're unemployed or a person with disabilities, you can apply for a personalized test card to ride entirely for free. But to get that personalized card, you need something very specific from the government. Let's move to and see how this builds, because here's the catch. That personalized transit card requires you to be registered in the Greek social system. This brings us to the single registration that bridges your ability to get transit subsidies directly to your ability to access healthcare. So meet your new best friend, the EMGA. This is your Greek social security number. You can think of it as the absolute center of your expat survival guide, your literal golden ticket. You cannot access personalized public transit benefits, and you definitely cannot access the public healthcare system without your EMGA. Now, let's rapidly demystify this alphabet soup of Greek bureaucracy so you don't get lost. Once you have your AMKA, you're going to hear about EFKA. Simply put, EFKA is the Unified Social Security Fund. It's the financial entity, the bank really, where you or your employer actually pay your Social Security contributions. And this brilliantly illustrates the relationship between the money and the medicine. ESIY is the national health system. So it works like this. You use your EMKA to register. You pay your contributions to EFK, and in return, EFK buys your healthcare from ESIY, which is the actual physical network of public hospitals, health centers, and rural clinics that provide your medical care. So, how do you actually get your hands on this golden ticket? Step 1, grab your passport, your residence permit, and your Greek tax number, which is known as the AFM. Step 2, take all of those documents to a KEP, which is a citizen service center. And step 3, well, you wait. But a quick warning here, it can take up to 50 days of active contributions before your public healthcare entitlement officially activates, which, of course, immediately raises the stakes. What happens if you twist your ankle or get sick during that 50-day waiting period? Or what if you're in Greece on a golden visa, a Digital Nomad Visa, or an FB visa? These are categories that explicitly state you usually don't qualify to rely on public ESI coverage in the first place. Well, this is where mandatory private visa insurance comes in. The Schengen and Greek authorities are incredibly strict about this. To even get or maintain your visa, you absolutely must hold a private policy with a minimum of €30,000 in medical coverage. It has to include medical repatriation, and those certificates, they must be provided in a bilingual English and Greek format exactly as the authorities expect, or your application will be delayed or just flat out rejected. So the crucial point is understanding the financial reality of not having this private cover. If you're uninsured and you walk into a private clinic, a simple GP visit is going to cost you €60 to €150 right out of pocket. Meanwhile, a basic private health insurance premium for an expat costs about €50 to €150 per month.
When you run the numbers, a good private insurance policy easily pays for itself with just 1 or 2 specialist visits. And if you have an emergency outside the public system, the costs escalate fast. A private ambulance in the city will run you 150 to 300 euros. But if you're living your dream life on a Greek island, private emergency transport can cost anywhere from 300 to well over 800 euros. In fact, on some islands, an ambulance isn't always a van. It might literally be a boat or a specially equipped motorcycle. This perfectly reinforces why having private cover is so critical outside of Athens and Thessaloniki. When you compare the day-to-day realities of both systems, clear differences emerge. Greece actually has excellent doctors, well above the OECD average, and the public ESY hospitals are comprehensive and practically free at the point of use. However, they do face staffing limits. It's quite common for public hospitals to ask you to bring a friend or family member to help with your basic daily care while admitted. Private hospitals, on the other hand, you're looking at modern private rooms, incredibly fast appointments, and widespread English-speaking staff.
So, what does this all mean for you? Here is your ultimate expat healthcare blueprint. First, register for your AMK. Second, use the public ESY system for routine care and to get your prescriptions, where you'll only pay a tiny 10 to 25% copay. And finally, hold a private insurance policy for those fast-track specialist appointments, modern private hospital stays, and to fulfill your ongoing visa requirements. You just blend the affordability of the public with the speed and comfort of the private. You now know how to conquer the transit networks. You know the absolute vital importance of the AMCA, and you know exactly how to blend public and private healthcare to protect yourself. This bureaucracy, it doesn't have to be a barrier. It's like a giant puzzle. And now you have the blueprint to navigate it. The only question left is, are you ready to confidently unlock your Mediterranean dream?